if your household had its own chief information security officer, a CISO, like the top exec who handles a company's whole digital defense plan?
Hmm.
That's what we're digging into today, how families like yours and mine can basically adopt those big corporate cyber strategies for our own digital lives. Bridge that gap between boardroom talk and the living room.
That's a really interesting way to put it because, yeah, in a company, the CISO is absolutely that strategic leader. They're safeguarding data, digital assets, all that critical stuff.
Right.
But the big shift, and our sources really highlight this, is that cybersecurity, well, it's moved beyond just being a corporate thing. It's become, honestly, a humanitarian issue. It affects everyone, every family, because we're all so connected now.
And that's exactly why we're focusing on this, isn't it? The internet, it really doesn't care if you're a CEO or, your grandma clicking on a bad email link.
Exactly.
No difference.
These threats are just everywhere. And with so much of our lives online, locking down your digital home is just as vital as, like, locking your actual front door.
And this isn't just us talking theory. Digital defense is now, like, a global priority. There are major initiatives popping up. What that really signals for us at home is how vital it is to be adaptable.
Things are always changing, right? Like quantum computing is on the horizon.
Absolutely. The landscape shifts constantly.
Yeah, there's even this SHIELD initiative safeguarding human identity and enabling logical defense in the quantum era. It kicked off Feb 7th, 2024. It just highlights how critical this is, especially when new tech could totally change or even break our current security.
So stepping into that family CISO role, it really means bringing those serious big league cybersecurity practices right into your home.
Okay.
And the core idea here is pretty simple. Knowledge is power. It's protection.
Hmm.
If you proactively teach your family about safe online habits, you're essentially building a human firewall against these threats.
Human firewall. I like that. So, okay, how do we start? Let's break down maybe a set of personal home cybersecurity policies. Not like rigid rules maybe, but essential guidelines, something practical everyone can follow.
Good place to start. Let's begin with the absolute foundation of digital security.
Right. And when you talk foundations, the first thing everyone thinks of is strong passwords. But the real key insight here isn't just complexity.
Yeah.
The mix of letters, numbers, symbols.
Okay.
It's uniqueness. Using the same password everywhere. That's the killer. One breach, and suddenly your whole digital life could be exposed.
Ah, right. The reuse problem.
Exactly. So for families, it's not just about making passwords complex, it's about managing them effectively. And honestly, this is where a good password manager becomes almost essential for everyone in the family.
So everyone gets their own.
Ideally, yes. It lets you have truly unique, strong passwords for every single site, and nobody has to actually memorize hundreds of them.
That makes a ton of sense, especially with how many accounts we all juggle. Okay, building on passwords, we've got multi-factor authentication, MFA. Most people kind of get that it adds an extra layer, but for families, the tricky part might be getting everyone to actually turn it on for all the important stuff. What's a good way to make that happen?
It really boils down to making it a habit and making it easy. For the crucial accounts, email, banking, main social media MFA should just be non-negotiable.
Okay.
A lot of apps now use authenticator apps or even just your fingerprint or face scan, which are way easier than waiting for SMS codes sometimes.
Yeah, those codes can be slow.
Right. So the family CSO, whoever takes the lead, should probably audit the key accounts, make sure MFA is enabled everywhere it can be, and explain why it's so vital. Even if someone steals your password, they hit that second factor wall.
It's like a double lock on the door.
Precisely.
And then the classic reminder, keep software and device updates current. I know I sometimes hit remind me later. Why is this so critical for family security, really?
Because those updates aren't just about new emojis or features. They're very often critical security patches. They close holes that hackers are actively looking for and trying to use.
So it's like leaving a window unlocked.
Exactly like that.
Yeah.
Automating updates is the best bet. But if you have to do it manually, make it a regular thing, like a weekly check. Just getting ahead of those known weaknesses before they bite you.
Okay, foundations. Unique passwords managed well, MFA everywhere possible, and keep everything updated. Got it. So once that's solid, we look at securing your digital environment itself, starting with safe browsing habits. That's more than just don't click weird links, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's about developing a kind of critical eye. Always questioning things. Where did this link come from? Does this email feel off?
Right.
For families, it means talking about what makes a website look shady or an email seem fishy. And fundamentally, Having good, reputable antivirus and anti-malware software installed, running, and kept up to date on all devices. Think of it as your digital security guard.
And the home Wi-Fi. The router sitting in the corner. Often overlooked, I bet.
Massively overlooked. And that's exactly what attackers rely on. That default login and password, it's like leaving the key under the mat.
Huh.
Change them immediately. Use a strong, unique password for the admin access and for the Wi-Fi network itself. And if your router supports WPA3 encryption, enable it. It's much stronger than the older WPA2.
WPA3? Okay.
And just like your computers and phones, your router needs firmware updates too. They patch security holes in the router itself. Your Wi-Fi is the main gateway to your entire digital home, so locking it down is absolutely essential.
Makes sense. And for all our stuff, photos, documents, memories, data backup, and encryption feel like must-haves.
Oh, they absolutely are. Can you imagine losing years of family photos or having them held ransom?
Nightmare scenario.
Totally. Regular backups are your safety net. Ideally, have both a local backup, like an encrypted external drive, and a secure cloud backup. Redundancy is key.
Encrypted drive.
Yes, encrypting the backup means even if someone stole the drive, the data is useless to them. And using encryption for sensitive files you store, or even for communications like email when needed, adds another vital layer of privacy. It's not just about having a copy, it's about having a secure copy.
Okay, that covers the environment pretty well. Next section, awareness and communication. This feels like where the human firewall idea really clicks, starting with phishing awareness and reporting. We all know the Nigerian prince emails, but phishing is way sneakier now.
It really is. It can look incredibly convincing. The aim is to make everyone in the family a bit of a detective. Teach them to spot the subtle signs. Tiny typos, weird sender addresses, that sense of urgency, unusual requests for info or money.
Like, click here NW or your account will be closed.
Exactly, that kind of pressure tactic. And crucially, you need a no-blame reporting system in the family. If something looks fishy, or even if someone thinks they clicked something bad, they need to feel safe reporting it immediately. No yelling, no punishment, just, okay, thanks for telling me, let's figure this out. That trust lets you react quickly and limit any damage.
That no blame part sounds critical for kids especially. Okay, what about privacy settings management? We're all splashing our lives on social media and apps.
And those settings change constantly, often buried after an update. So make it a regular habit, maybe every few months, to go through the privacy settings on social media, apps, even your phone's location settings.
Right.
The core message is simple. Think before you share. If you wouldn't want everyone seeing it, teachers, future bosses, strangers for strangers, then maybe don't post it online. That includes location tags, overly personal details, even photos that might reveal where you live or go to school. Limiting what you share is a powerful defense.
Makes sense. And just general, safe online communication.
Yeah, this ties into digital citizenship, really. Empathy online is huge. Encourage respectful communication. Using encrypted messaging apps like Signal or WhatsApp for sensitive chats is smart. But it's also just about thinking before hitting send, understanding that online stuff can be permanent, and remembering there's a real person reading your words. Basic kindness goes a long way.
Okay, now let's get into family-specific guidelines. Tailoring security for different ages. First thing that comes to mind is child-specific online safety measures.
Yeah, for younger kids, things like parental control software and monitoring tools can be useful. But, and there's a big but, they should always be paired with open conversation.
Not just tech solutions.
Exactly. The best safety tool is trust. Making sure your kids feel comfortable coming to you if they see something weird or uncomfortable online, rather than trying to hide it because they're scared of getting in trouble or losing access.
That trust theme keeps coming up. What about managing device usage and screen time for everyone?
This isn't strictly cybersecurity, maybe, but it's definitely part of digital well-being. Setting clear, agreed-upon guidelines for how much time is spent on devices and when helps everyone find balance.
Prevents burnout.
Yeah, prevents digital fatigue, ensures time for homework, chores, family time, just real life. It's about healthy habits.
Which leads nicely into digital detox periods. Is that something families actually do?
More and more are trying. Encouraging voluntary times, maybe Sunday dinners, or an hour before bed where everyone puts devices away. It really emphasizes offline connection and helps reset focus. A chance to recharge without notifications buzzing.
I could probably use that myself. Okay, last area here, preparedness and future-proofing. Starting with an emergency response plan, like for a fire drill, but for cyber stuff.
Exactly. What do you do if a phone gets lost or stolen? What's the plan if you suspect an account has been hacked? What if cyberbullying happens? Having a clear, calm plan written down helps everyone know the steps, reduces panic, and leads to faster, better responses. And again, it ties back to that no-blame reporting culture.
Got it. And keeping this all fresh in everyone's mind, regular family cybersecurity meetings sounds a bit formal.
Doesn't have to be. It could be a quick chat over dinner once a month. Hey, saw this new scam going around, or let's quickly review our Wi-Fi password, or just how's everyone feeling about their online safety?
Making it normal conversation.
Right. It turns cybersecurity from a chore or a lecture into a shared family value, a team effort. It's actually a great way to connect over something really important.
And finally, adapting to future technologies.
Yeah, just keeping an ear out. The digital world doesn't stand still. Being aware of new things like advances in AI or the implications of quantum computing down the road means your family can adjust its strategies and stay resilient. It's about continuous learning.
Okay, those policies cover a lot. Building on that, you mentioned the idea of a family internet use agreement. This sounds less like rules handed down and more like a partnership.
That's exactly the idea. It's not just a list of do's and don'ts. It's a framework you create together as a family to build open communication, trust, and safety online.
So everyone has input.
Ideally, yes, especially older kids and teens. It's about setting clear expectations, agreed upon by everyone, for how you all want to navigate the digital world positively and securely. And think of it as a living document, something you revisit and adjust as kids get older or technology changes.
Okay, so what goes into this agreement? It starts with some core general principles, right?
Absolutely. Simple but powerful stuff like respect and kindness. Treat others online just like you would face-to-face. Privacy, agree not to share personal information, yours or others, without permission. And honesty, being open about what you're doing online and what you encounter. Building that foundation of trust is key.
Makes sense. When those principles are clear, maybe the specific rules feel less arbitrary, like time limits. How specific should those be?
They can be pretty specific, but agreed upon. It's about balance, not just control. Examples might be for kids under 12, maybe no more than an hour on school days, 2 hours on weekends. For teens, maybe 2-hour school days, 3 weekends.
For flexibility.
Of course, with clear exceptions discussed beforehand, like for homework or specific projects. And one rule that often helps everyone is the digital curfew.
Ah, the phones off before bed rule?
Yeah, maybe agree that all devices get turned off and maybe even charged outside the bedroom at least an hour before bedtime. Helps with sleep hygiene, which affects everything else.
Good point. What about guiding where kids go online? An approved websites and apps list.
They can be really helpful, especially for younger kids. You create and review a list together. And the rule is, if they want to add a new game or app, it requires a discussion and approval first. Again, it's an opportunity for conversation about safety and content.
Right. Okay, now online behavior. This seems crucial. Under communication.
The core rule, don't engage with strangers online without talking to a parent first. Simple as that. And always, always be polite and respectful, even if others aren't.
And for content sharing.
The golden rule. Think before you post. Ask yourself, would I be okay with my teacher, my grandparents, a future boss seeing this? If the answer is no, or even maybe not, then don't share it. That goes for photos, opinions, everything.
That's a good gut check. And cyberbullying needs to be addressed directly in the agreement.
Absolutely. The family stance needs to be crystal clear. We stand against cyberbullying. If you experience it, or if you see it happening to someone else, the agreement should say, you must report it immediately to a parent or another trusted adult. No hesitation, no fear of getting in trouble. It's about creating that safety net.
Okay. What about the tricky situation of meeting online friends in person?
Strict guidelines are non-negotiable here. The agreement must state, any potential meeting has to be discussed with and approved by a parent first. And if a meeting happens, it must be in a public place, and a parent must be present. No exceptions. Safety first.
That seems like a clear, bright line. And finally, what about consequences and check-ins?
Yeah, the agreement should outline what happens if rules are broken. But the focus shouldn't be just punishment. It should be a discussion. Why did it happen? What can we learn? Consequences might involve temporary loss of device privileges, sure. But the learning part is key.
And the check-ins.
That reinforces the living document idea. Schedule regular, maybe monthly check-ins. How are things going online? Anything weird happen? Do we need to adjust any of our rules? It keeps the conversation open and adapts the agreement as needed.
That agreement sounds like a really practical tool, but how do we make these rules, these ideas feel real, especially for kids? You mentioned role-playing earlier.
Yes, role-playing can be incredibly effective. It takes these abstract rules and puts them into concrete situations where kids and teens can practice how they'd react in a safe space.
Without the real-world pressure.
Exactly. It builds their confidence and their decision-making skills before they actually face a tricky situation online.
Okay, let's walk through a few scenarios. How would this work? Let's take scenario one. Receiving a friend request from a stranger. So, your kid's playing a game, gets a request from gamer234. What do you do?
Okay, so you'd role play it. You could pretend to be Gamer234 sending the request. The goal is to help your child pause and think, wait, family rules know strangers. Then evaluate. Do I know this person? Why would they friend me?
And the practice responses.
The practice is to either politely decline or, even better, to practice coming to you. Hey, Mom, Dad, I got this friend request from someone I don't know. What should I do? Then you guide them. Good job telling me. Let's look together. Remember, we don't accept requests from people we don't know because we can't be sure who they are. It turns it into a learning moment, not a scary one.
Okay, makes sense. Scenario two. Encountering inappropriate content. Your kid is doing homework research, clicks a link, bam, something bad pops up. How do you want them to react?
The immediate practiced reaction should be close the window or turn off the screen right away. Then, the most important step, tell a parent or trusted adult immediately without worrying about getting in trouble.
Reinforcing that no blame thing again.
Absolutely critical here. So you role play that conversation. The child practices saying, I was looking for stuff for my project and accidentally saw something bad online. And your practice response is calm and reassuring. Okay, thanks for telling me right away. You're not in trouble. Let's talk about what happened and maybe check our filters. It teaches them self-protection and trust.
Got it. Scenario three. Being asked for personal information, someone they chat with online, maybe in a forum, starts asking for their phone number, address, wants to meet up. How do they practice saying no?
This is about practicing boundaries. Role play being the pushy online person. Your child practices saying clearly, no, I don't share personal information online, or I'm not comfortable sharing that.
And if the person keeps pushing?
Then they practice leaving the chat, blocking the user, and again immediately telling a parent. The role play conversation could be, this person online wants my address, they seem nice, but... And your response reinforces the rule. You did the right thing telling me, it's never safe to share that info, let's block them together.
Okay, one more. Scenario four. Discovering a friend being bullied online. Your kid sees friends getting picked on in a game chat. What's the constructive way to react?
This one teaches being an active, helpful bystander, not just a passive observer. So you role play what they could do. Step one, reach out to the friend privately. Hey, I saw that. Are you okay? Step two, encourage the friend to tell an adult. Step three, use the game's built-in reporting tools to flag the bullies.
So it's about support and action.
Exactly. The child practices saying, I saw players being mean to Alex in the chat, and you practice responding, that's not okay. It's great you noticed and want to help. Let's think about how Alex can report it and let him know you're there for him. It teaches empathy and digital citizenship.
These scenarios really drive home that it's not just about knowing the rules, it's about practicing the response and, crucially, keeping that communication channel open with parents or trusted adults.
Precisely. It builds those essential problem-solving skills for the digital world. And, this really brings us to a fundamental point. Cybersecurity isn't just tech. It's not just firewalls and software. It's deeply, deeply human.
Right. It's about people.
It's about uniting cybersecurity knowledge with empathy, really, to create a safer online world for everyone.
Yeah, we were really struck by the work of one professional in this space. She has, a decade in information security across communications, finance, even aerospace and defense. Big fields. But her approach isn't just technical. Her real strength, her secret sauce, if you will, seems to be these incredible soft skills. Empathy, emotional intelligence, communicating awareness effectively.
Right. Her whole mission, as she puts it, is bridging that gap between cybersecurity and humanity, recognizing that protecting data, it's not just about the technology, it's about the people using it, the people affected by it.
She's even described as an insider threat whisperer. That sounds intriguing. What does that mean in practice?
It means combining that cybersecurity awareness training with actually monitoring for risky behaviors, but doing it with empathy. So think about it in a family context. If your teen keeps clicking on dodgy links despite warnings, an insider threat whisperer approach wouldn't just block the sites or punish them. It would be about understanding why. Are they not recognizing the risk? Are they curious? And then working with them to understand the dangers, learn how to spot fake links, and essentially turn that risky behavior into a learning opportunity, transforming them from a potential weak link into someone who's actually vigilant, a cyber steward for the family.
That's a really different way of looking at it, helping them become part of the solution. And she developed something called cyber core values.
Yes, it's a fascinating concept. She sees these values as a kind of roadmap for navigating our increasingly complex, AI-driven digital world safely and confidently. And they apply perfectly to families.
Okay, what are they?
First is respect for data. Understanding that data, your family photos, your personal info, financial details, it's precious. It's the lifeblood of our digital lives.
Right.
Protecting it is a shared responsibility.
Okay. Respect data.
Second, empathy in cyberspace. This is huge. Treating people online with the same kindness, understanding, and respect you would offline. Remembering there's a human on the other side of that screen, whether it's in a game chat or a social media comment section.
Reduces conflict, builds community.
Exactly. Third, continuous learning and adaptation. The cyber world changes fast. New threats, new technologies. This value is about actively seeking knowledge, staying curious, and being willing to adapt your habits and protections. For families, it means being open to learning together.
Staying ahead of the curve, or at least trying to.
Right. Fourth is transparency and accountability. This means being honest about our online actions and taking responsibility. If you make a mistake online, click a bad link, share something you shouldn't have, owning up to it, learning from it, and maybe sharing that lesson builds trust.
Fostering honesty within the family again.
And finally, collaboration for cyber resilience. This is the idea that we're stronger together, sharing knowledge about threats, helping each other with settings, working as a team to defend the family's digital space. Cybersecurity becomes a family project, not just one person's job.
Respect, empathy, learning, accountability, collaboration. Those feel really foundational. So why is this human-centric approach, championed by experts like her, so effective?
I think it works because it's grounded in how people actually behave. It recognizes the human element as often the first and maybe most important line of defense. It focuses on empowering individuals with understanding and tailored awareness, not just generic rules. It turns everyone into a potential guardian of their own digital world, starting right there at home.
So we've covered a lot today. We've really dug into how you can transform your household's approach to digital safety, essentially becoming your family's CISO, empowering everyone to navigate online with confidence, but also with caution. It really makes cybersecurity a fundamental life skill in today's world, doesn't it? And ultimately, a safe digital family is, well, a happier digital family.
Absolutely. And I'd really encourage everyone listening to think about how these ideas, from the practical stuff like unique passwords and MFA to the bigger concepts like a family agreement, and embracing those cyber core values, how they can fit into your own family's life and routines.
Start small, maybe.
Sure, start small, but be consistent. Promote that continuous learning, that adaptation, and always remember, trust in any security advice, whether from us or anywhere else, should come from understanding it and verifying it makes sense for your situation.
That's great advice. So here's a final thought to leave you with. We know the digital landscape is constantly shifting. We've got things like quantum computing looming on the horizon, promising massive changes. In light of all that, what new life skills beyond what we've discussed today will you prioritize learning and teaching within your family to ensure you're not just safe online, but truly resilient for whatever the digital future holds?